let's face it, when you're about on target, it is a very ticklish, sensitive kind of thing, isn't it? It's really a kind of a paradox. Shooting is oxymoronic, whatever, contradictory. Because shooting, if you don't shoot, which most of y'all do, probably some, but you think so obviously of the blast and recoil, and think of it as we don't think of it as fine motor skills being used, I guess, as much. It's like we think of it, if we're not careful, of taking a baseball bat and hitting a tree, and throwing a rock at a tree, because you got this gun and it's boom, recoil and noise and all that kind of thing, and power. But the actual act of precision shooting, it requires you, no matter what kind of recoil you have, how much noise and blast you're going to have, it's a very precise, ticklish, fine motor skill, coordination of motor skills, isn't it? You're getting that sight right in the proper place and coordinating the brake on that trigger just at the right time, the right instant, and it's a ticklish business. That trigger is fairly light, so you got to add a little bit of pressure as you're getting on target. For those who don't shoot, that's just kind of telling you something you might not know, you might not think about. So it really is a contradiction in a lot of ways, unlike most, sports, hobbies, whatever you want to call it. And that's what makes it difficult. It's one thing that makes it difficult, isn't it? For a new shooter and for an old shooter. It's why we get flinch. Because all that's going to happen. That recoil and blast and noise and everything. All that's going to happen. We know it. But leading up to it, we're trying to do something that's like threading a needle. Something very delicate, with this heavy piece of steel. So it's a challenge, and that's one thing we like, don't we? We humans, well, those of you who are human, we enjoy things like that are a challenge. Whether it's throwing a frisbee or a basketball, or shooting an arrow. It's just a pastime of human beings. I would guess that as far back as you want to go, Homo sapiens were probably doing something that would be considered sport, throwing rocks at a tree, even though they were busy trying to survive too, but practicing, because they would use a rock, I'm sure, to maybe knock out a piece of game to eat or whatever, a club. So I'm sure they had their games and things like that. I'm sure they had a sense of humor, right, before they could use a computer back in the day of some sort. So it's just something we enjoy doing.